Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video we're going to talk about all things Harry and Meghan. The Invictus Games is fast approaching, and the latest designs for the medals of the upcoming games have recently been released.
Wow, oh my gosh. My name is Levi Nelson, and I am a contemporary Indigenous artist from the Lil'wat Nation. This is my sketchbook for the Invictus Games. We have the war paddle, half of the ancestral eye, and the bottom representing the wave. This is a Coast Salish design on a medal that is going around the necks of warriors, of veterans who have fought for us all over this world. And I am so proud to have worked with each and every one of the artists from the 4 host nations. It's a true honor.
The founder of the games, Prince Harry, recently said, "Our Invictus Games are a celebration of human spirit, and we thank all 4 host First Nations artists for bringing this to life. This year's medals represent unity, courage, and victory. We come together as a global community to honor the extraordinary strength, resilience, and brilliance of our competitors and their families." The Duke was also spotted during a video from the Wellchild, urging the public to submit their nominations for the 2025 Wellchild Awards.
Each year, the Wellchild Awards, in association with GSK, recognise and celebrate the growing number of young people with complex medical conditions from across the United Kingdom, as well as those who go the extra mile to care for them. They allow us to shine a spotlight on the remarkable stories of strength, resilience, and courage that they demonstrate every single day. And this year is especially significant as we celebrate the 20th Wellchild Awards. It is a true privilege to honour the bravery and compassion of this incredible community. So, please join us in recognising the amazing individuals who will be honoured at the 2025 Wellchild Awards.
Meghan's college bestie, Lindsey, has an upcoming book in which she's included a dedication to the Duchess. Lindsey's latest book, Romances and Practicalities, I really like that name, is currently available. Of course, Meghan and Lindsey are college friends who's been there for the highs and lows, weddings, and of course, motherhood. In 2015, Meghan promoted Lindsey's debut novel, What Pretty Girls Are Made Of, on her Instagram, calling it one of her best summer reads. A week after Prince Harry's historic win against the Sun, we've got a first look of a brand new drama entitled The Hack, starring David Tennant. And if there are any Doctor Who fans listening, he's my favorite Doctor. Ellen Murphy on X said Prince Harry's next court case is against the Daily Mail. Katie Nicholl used illegally obtained info for stories. She's the royal editor for Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair just did a hit piece on the Sussexes. Are they trying to silence Harry? Don't know if I believe it's silence, more retaliatory. And as we've said before, if you look at just about every hit piece on the Sussexes, you can connect them to a member of the Royal Rota, a member of the UK tabloids, or someone who has very close relationships with certain members of the royal family. The invisible, visible contract. It's a very tangled web.
So this guy beat this guy. Well, beat his company. But this guy's not happy? So just in case you didn't know, he's been in a long-running battle with News Group newspapers over the fact that they pried into his and his mother's and his family's private life for years. Now, the day it was due to go to trial, they were like, we give up. So now the NGN have allegedly paid out over 10 million to him, Tom Watson, the other claimant, and the cost of legal fees. But more importantly than that, he got this apology. The apology for prying into his and his mother's life. This was the real win for him. This is what he wanted. And now old Misery Gus is absolutely losing it. Apparently, Prince Harry has invaded privacy way more than any tabloid and intruded into their lives for personal financial gain. Now, why would Piers Morgan be so upset about the fact he won this case? It's not like he was editor of a newspaper that just had to pay damages to Prince Harry as well for the same thing. Some things that were done under his watch. It's not like there's any ripple effects that could maybe bring him back into the spotlight for his unethical practices, after he likes to champion himself as a man of the people, a good and righteous man. It just feels like desperation because he doesn't even care. This makes him look like an idiot. It's one thing for you, as a member of your family, to talk about things that happened to you within your family. You were one of the people involved. You have every right to talk about it. It's quite different to have people who had nothing to do with it snooping into your private business and exposing it to the world without your consent. Almost as bad as hacking dead people's phones.
I've just listened to Steve Coogan on the Newsagents podcast with Emily Maitlis, and he's saying that although many people did settle with the NGN news group, because mainly if they had won anything and their settlement was less than the costs, they would have been liable for all the costs, which is why so many people like Hugh Grant, like Steve Coogan, etc., settled, and Prince Harry, obviously. Prince Harry also got his apology, which is what he wanted to. But he could have been out of like 25, 30 million out of pocket if it had gone the other way and not settled, even though he had won. Anyway, that's UK law. But Steve Coogan has said that if the police do not do the investigation that they're asking for, because Hugh Grant is asking that the police investigate, and they say they have a lot of documentation against people like Rebecca Brooks and Piers Morgan, then they will do private prosecution against Piers Morgan themselves, because they have enough documentation to say that he was involved in the hacking, or he knew about the hacking, or he asked for phones to be hacked. Oh, Piers.
I'll definitely be keeping an eye out to see if Steve and Hugh and Harry and others pursue this privately. I hope they do. There's never a shortage of people who dislike Meghan Markle camping out under the comment sections of people who make content about her, who say anything that is positive or matter of fact about Meghan. Unless you're singing a tune that's dipped in misinformation and negativity, they're just not happy. And they're happy to tell you just how unhappy they are. Lord knows I have my share in the comment section. Do try to clean up as best I can. But I saw a response to one particular naysayer that made me chuckle.
Jesus. I can only assume you're a deranger. You come across like a deranger. You've literally been all over my comments, all the Meghan related comments. So here we go, right? Okay, so I'm going to respond. I'm curious, would a person who allegedly ruined relationships not only with her own family, allegedly, and the relationship with the husband's family, allegedly, have people believe a dog eulogy? This is insane. This is insane. Anyway, let's start here. So, your use of the word family is so interesting to me. So interesting to me. Should we look at Meghan's Caucasian side of the family? Because that's who we've heard from. Because she's got an amazing relationship still with her mother. Her mother's fully involved in her life, in her children's life. So yeah, so that relationship is just good. Thank you very much. The people that you're talking about, Meghan's family, are the people from the Caucasian side, yeah? So we've got Thomas Markle, father, Samantha Markle, half-sister, and I don't know what his name is, but he's either a brother, uncle, cousin, whatever. He's got a YouTube page dedicated to her. Those are the three people that we've heard from mostly, I would say, okay? So let's look at this family, shall we? First of all, let's look at Thomas Markle. I don't know if you've got any children. I've got two. But there's no way on earth that media, press, whatever could come to me before my child's big day and say, right, here's some money, sell us some stories on your child. And I do that. Stories on my child that are going to negatively impact her. Would you do that? Is that something you do? Because you talk about family, but I don't know family that would do that, like real family that would do that. I wouldn't do that ever. Never. I don't care what that child's done. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, Thomas Markle did just that. He sold Meghan for 30 pieces of silver. He did. We know he did. He admitted doing it. He's confessed to doing it. And the press obviously took advantage of a man who was probably down on his luck a little bit, needed some money. It's his daughter, and allegedly they had a really good relationship prior to her marrying Harry. So what happened? What happened? Would you have behaved in that manner? Honestly, answer that. I mean, that man literally agreed to pose for pictures where he was looking sad on the day of his daughter's wedding, so that the papers could like put a hit piece out on her. Is that something you would do? Answer that question honestly. Would you do that? Listen, I'm not going to judge. Would you do that? And then the next family, Samantha Markle, half-sister who keeps trying to sue Meghan because Meghan said in the Harry and Meghan documentary that she didn't really know her. Is that something you'd do? Does that speak of family bond to you? Does it? And mind you, this is the same half-sister whose own children hate her. This is the same half-sister who adopted out her own children to her parents. And her parents don't say anything particularly nice about her either. Family dynamics being what they are. But then her children hate her too. And in fact, her daughter is closer to Meghan than she is to her mum. What does that say about Samantha Markle exactly? Is the way that Samantha's behaved, is that how you would behave towards your sister if you have one, or a brother if you have one? Is that how you would behave? We know that Samantha, at the height of all the hatred coming towards Meghan, right, within the press, she set up a Twitter group where she was like literally hate piling all the horrible things she said about her sister. Is that family to you? Is that something you do? Maybe it is something you do, Mrs. Anonymous, right? Maybe it's something you do. It's not something I'd ever do. I would never do that. Not to my sister who I allegedly love so much. And by the way, Samantha Markle lost all those cases against Meghan. It's all about the money. It's all about the greens, mate. With that family, it was all about the greens. Because then we go on to the uncle, brother, whatever he is, that's got the YouTube page dedicated to hating on Meghan. Is that something you would do? Set up a hate page against your sister, niece, whatever. Just enabling the people who really hate her. Enabling those people. Is that something you would do? Does that scream family to you? Does that scream family to you? It doesn't scream family to me. Does not scream family to me. And then you've got Harry's own family, who at the height of the pile-on and the hatred from the press and the media, 4,000 hit pieces a day on Meghan, right? At the height of all that, they refuse to do nothing. Do not explain, do not complain, except for we know that they explain, we know that they complain. The difference is they use their communication teams and they do briefings against, we now know that they were doing briefings against Harry and Meghan. But we know that they complain and we know that they explain because they do it just using their media sources. We know this. They put out their side of the story all the time. So that stiff upper lip has been from the dawn of time. I mean, the hate was so bad from the press that, 72, 90 MPs cross-party mind, Labour, Lib Dems, Conservatives, came together, female MPs came together and said, no, this is disgusting. They condemned the press and what they were doing to that woman who, what was her crime? What was her actual crime that she did that was so bad that it warranted all of those hit pieces, that it warranted people writing horrible things, wishing her? What did she do? Because again, this was 2019. This was before Oprah show. This was before Harry Meghan documentary. This was before Spare. This was before all of that. So what was the excuse then? What was the excuse? How did writing an email to people at 5 o'clock in the morning, and mind you, we've seen the email that she wrote. We've now seen how innocuous and how polite that email was. How it said, don't be in a rush to get back to me. We've seen those emails now. What did she actually do other than being biracial? We know that the royal family could have done something apart from half the time it was them sending out the hit pieces, but there were certain things that they could have done. They still could have made a show at the very least, because let's face it, look at what happened to Lady Susan Hussey with that racism scandal that erupted sort of a couple of years ago. William came straight out and denounced it. Why couldn't he do the same for his sister-in-law? Why couldn't he? Because they only do it when it suits them. And the bullying allegations, somehow we don't get any names of the people who are bullied. We don't get any names of the people making the allegations. Yeah. But whereas the people who actually have worked with Meghan have come out vociferously in defense of her and said, she's an amazing person. This is how she treated me. She was brilliant. So we know their names, but how come we don't know the names of the people who allegedly Meghan bullied? That report's been done and dusted, but somehow that wasn't publicized. You think for a minute if there was anything negative in there that the papers wouldn't have gotten hold of it and displayed it and splashed it all over their front pages? You think that? I mean, for God's sake, the Sun even tried getting an ex-boyfriend to slag her off and he said no, he refused. And we know this because he said so. Yeah, he said so. People like you will use Meghan's Caucasian side of the family to beat her with constantly. As if family is the be-all and end-all, but we know that families are sometimes, often, the perpetrators of the greatest harm to people. We know fathers who abuse their daughters. We know mothers who neglect their kids, abuse them, physically abuse them. We know this. We know uncles who fiddle. These are things that happen within families. So family is not all of that. And all that Meghan has been doing is protecting her peace. And I think that's okay. I think that's a right thing to do. She doesn't come out slagging them off. She hasn't. And we know she hasn't. Yeah? So this is all... Anybody who sees ill intent in Meghan eulogizing her dog that she loved, and the people like me who have followed her for a while, way before she came into that family, right? We know how much she loved that dog. The people who see ill intent in her writing 2025 on the sand, the problem is you. The problem has always been you. The problem will always be you. Your hatred of yourself and your hatred of her because you're jealous and you can't bear it. Seek therapy.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Can we just take a moment to laugh at the Meghan and Harry haters right now, because they are desperately, absolutely desperately trying to paint this picture that Harry just was like, I'll take the money because I'll never beat you in court, where they just took 2 minutes to find some facts. I know these people don't deal with facts very well. And whereas I use tabloids to prove misinformation, you use those tabloids to try and suit your narrative. And I'm going to say it again. It's always the same women who cannot stand Meghan Markle. I wonder why. Anything that couple do, just breathing makes you so mad. I don't understand where this hate comes from. And please note, I would rather call out misinformation than sit on here and lie and try and bring two people down that I don't know. But you know what? You do you.
So I was thinking about what's next for Meghan and Harry. And to be honest with you, all they have to do is continue doing what they're doing. Because we know that Harry is notorious. They're notorious for a walk and drop, right? They produce these projects, they drop them, they move on to their next body of work. And I so appreciate that. This court case is not over with, right? It is for Harry. Harry just dropped a bomb. And we know propaganda is like Harry settled, disappointed. Don't get caught up in that distraction. It's not over. The Popo is asking for the transcripts of Harry's hearing. The Popo has a copy of the dossier. What we need to do is figure out what's inside of that, because the noise that we're going to get is going to be tied to covering that up. Keep our eye on the prize. We also have With Love Meghan coming up. The fires are still going on in California, so there's a lot that Harry and Meghan are doing. They dropped, they're done, they're doing their thing over here. Harry didn't go to the UK because he's heavily involved in the fires, feet on the ground. Meghan's series is going to start. You know, you live forward, you have your dreams, and she manifested her dreams, and this cooking show is a personal one for Meghan. So congratulations, man. And we will be there. And I really think that we're going to see Meghan in her authentic self. With Harry and Meghan, I honestly think that they are professionals. They have a lot of projects going on, the things that we know and things that we don't know. And we just have to continue celebrating them as they drop and walk and enjoy those moments that they choose to share with us. Harry has the battle against the media, aka Charles and Cruella. Do I think it will stop? I don't. I think that the veil has been pulled, so we now know that this is truly institutional with Cruella and Charles at the CEO was the editor of the newspaper that just lost, right? So the crown is in bed with the media. So that veil is pulled. So now it's just a matter of how that media and upcoming media choose to start to navigate, because now we know. Invictus is coming up. So let's not get distracted with propaganda while they're trying to build whatever to detract away from Invictus. Harry is Invictus, but Invictus is the world. And there's a lot that goes on to that. So kudos to Harry. It's not like if he's having tea or playing Twinkle Toes. There's a lot going on in their world. And they just have to continue doing what they're doing, block out the social media. They have a whole PR team. They have folks like us that are advocating on their behalf. And the institution, they need to regroup. There's a lot of good things coming up for Harry and Meghan. And what we want to do is celebrate those things that are going on. They don't have to do much other than what they're doing, and that's just living their life. Living a purposeful life, living a meaningful life.
There was some silly story suggesting that Kate intends to fly to America in order to have a talk with Harry, to reconnect with Prince Harry, which we know is nonsense. This just seems like a sort of a tweaked, recycled version of all those Kate the Peacemaker narratives or stories that we saw for a few years now.
Well, let's face it, guys, we've seen stranger headlines when it comes to the relationship between Kate and Harry, but this story here about Kate wanting to fly over to the States to meet Harry at some point in 2025 was all over every platform. I don't know whether this is connected to the material that Harry was provided with to support his court case against the Murdoch Group and Murdoch newspapers, but I strongly suspect it is. Rumours were abound in the hack journalist media community that the content of those files was basically enough to sink the non-working, taxpayer-funded royal family forever. Harry chose to settle and not release that information, which would have ended the royal family's prospects of ever being the same again. And good on Harry for doing that. Is that the reason Kate wants to fly over to meet him? I suspect it is. I think, hear me out, I think Kate will be the non-working, scrounging royal family's envoy to pat Harry on the back, say, thanks a lot.
I don't know about that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell.